you're going to come onto your hands and knees and then tuck your toes. And just if you tuck them again so they really are properly tucked, and then take your sitting bones back onto the heels and just let your feet just relax for a moment. Just taking the hands in fractionally and then start to round the back, chin to the chest. Feel that space between the shoulder blades. So just nice and slow, feeling the space between the shoulder blades. Chin tucked, nice and rounded. And let your breathing settle. So letting the breathing settle. Drawing the navel in towards the spine, creating a nice C curve in the spine, and allow some weight to come into the feet as you settle your breath. So focusing on your breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils. Nice and slow with your breath. Try and really widen across the shoulder blades. And then nice and slowly coming up into downward facing dog. And you just have a look at your feet first. Just check the feet are hip distance apart. Have a look at the hands, pressing the hands into the floor, extending the shoulders, and then start to alternately bend the knees. Just nice and slowly, working with your hamstrings, just dropping one heel down towards the floor at a time. Just make sure the shoulders and the neck are quite relaxed. And just then beginning to move in any way that you want to within downward facing dog. So if you're feeling that the sides of the body are tight or the hips are tight, just move into that space. If you creep your feet a little bit wider, come forward into plank. And then you're going to go back into downward facing dog, just warming up the shoulders. You're coming forward 3 times. You're going to do it. Come forward into plank, back into downward facing dog, gripping the floor with the hands and the feet. Coming forward into plank, and then back into downward facing dog. Stepping the feet just a little bit closer so you're back in your normal downward facing dog position. Pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet. Lengthening the whole of the back of the body, drawing the navel in towards the spine. And then rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees. Walk lightly the feet forward between the hands. Exhale and forward. Pressing into the feet, come up standing. Take the arms up, looking up at the hands, and then hands back to heart. So taking the feet hip distance apart. Hands at the chest, lifting chest towards the thumbs, dropping the shoulders down, and find your mountain pose. So you've got the connection of the feet, lifting and engaging, lifting their kneecaps, engaging their thighs, tucking the tailbone under, drawing the navel in towards the spine. Feel the front of the ribs coming in, chest is still lifting and the shoulders are dropping. You're looking straight ahead and then steadying the breath. If you start to practice your usual breathing, the nice and slow, that engagement in the throat, slowing down the breath. So if we take a couple of rounds of breathing to synchronize before we begin. We take a nice slow inhale and then exhale. Again, inhaling and exhale. Next time, inhale, take the arms up, perhaps look up at the thumbs, and then exhale and fold forward. Soften your knees, tuck the chin, crown the head down. Inhale, come up halfway, step back to plank, and push the floor away in your plank, holding. You push the floor away, lengthening the tailbone, take an inhale. As you exhale, take the knees, chest and chin towards the floor, and then come into cobra. Again, you're going to hold cobra for a couple of breaths. Think about opening up the chest, shoulders down away from the ears, find that space. And then move back from there into downward facing dog. Have a look at your hands, just check the hand position. Have a look at the feet. If your legs are still tight, continue to alternately bend the knees. It's absolutely fine to You don't have to be static in downward facing dog. Again, if the hips are tight, continue to move the hips. Just holding or moving in your downward facing dog, breathing nice and slowly. Pushing the floor away if you've got the legs straight. Letting the breath settle. And then what I'd like you to do on the next inhale is rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees. Lightly walk the feet forward. And exhale and fold. Pressing into the feet. Inhale, come up. Arms go up, hands back to the heart. Inhale the arms up again. Nice and slowly exhale and fold forward. Inhaling, coming up halfway. Exhale with control back into plank. Push the floor away. Again, we're holding plank. Lengthening the tailbone, drawing the belly in. Chest moving forward. After the next inhale, as you exhale, take the knees, chest chin to the floor if it's still quite soft. Coming into cobra. Again, hold cobra. So allow that little bit of time, elbows and the upper arms in towards the ribs. Drawing the chest forward. After the next exhale, then lift up and then back into downward facing dog. And you don't have to be static in your downward facing dog. You can be really fluid and continue to move into your legs, move into your shoulders. If you prefer, stay nice and still in your downward facing dog. Lengthening the tailbone, drawing the navel in and steadying the breath. On the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees. Again, we're going to walk forward. So nice and light. Exhale and fold. Press into the feet. Come all the way up. And go up. Hands to the heart. 2 more rounds. Inhaling, taking the arms up. Nice and slowly fold forward. Soften the knees. Inhaling, coming up halfway. Exhale, back into plank. And push the floor away. You can always drop the knees on this one if it's too strong on your wrists. Holding there, lengthening the tailbone. After the next inhale, exhale the knees, chest chin to the floor. Coming into cobra. Opening up the chest and then back into downward facing dog. Breathing there. Eyes and open. Across the shoulders, navel in towards the spine, lengthening the tailbone. And your gaze is going to be somewhere towards the knees, so knees to the thighs, chin is slightly tucked in. On the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees. You can jump or step the feet forward. Exhale and fold. Coming up standing. And then hands back to the heart. Last round. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale and fold forward. Inhaling, coming up halfway. Jump or step back into plank. Again, hold your plank. Really rising up, lifting the chest away from the floor, lengthening your tailbone. After the next inhale, take the knees, chest chin to the floor. Come into cobra. Open up the chest and then move back from there into downward facing dog. Pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet, lengthening the back, finding space in the shoulders, and then focusing on your breath. So taking 5 breaths, nice and slow. And then on the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees, jump or step the feet forward. Exhale and fold. And then rise up to standing. And take the hands to the heart. Okay, so we're going to do Sun Salutation B now. Taking the arms alongside the body, taking the big toes together, heels slightly apart. So if you look down, you can see the outside edges of your feet are parallel. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees and then come into chair pose. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, jump or step back into plank. And then you're going to lower down either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Coming into up dog or cobra. Opening up the chest, back into downward facing dog. Inhaling the right leg up behind. Step it lightly forward, dropping your left heel. And then rise up. Just check your hips are nice and level. And then take your arms up, lengthening up. Either look straight ahead or look up slightly. Staying there, really pressing into that back foot, making sure that your left hip is not turning outwards. It's coming in or straight forward. After the next inhale, take the hands down to the floor, step your right foot back, and then lower down. Coming into up dog or cobra, and then back into downward facing dog. Inhaling the left leg up behind, step it forward, dropping your right heel, and slowly come up into warrior one. Opening up the chest, and then thinking about your right foot, really connect the right foot to the floor, and then make sure your right hip isn't turning out too much. Hips are trying to face forward as you bend into your front knee. After the next inhale, take the hands down to the floor, step back, lower down, coming into up dog or cobra, move back from there into downward facing dog. Let the breath settle, nice and slow. So practice use-your breathing in the downward facing dog, so really focus on your breath. Try to slow down the breath. If you're really hot, you can always breathe out through the mouth. Getting the breath back under control as you rest. And then on the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees, jump or step the feet forward. Exhale and fold. Chair pose. Bending the knees, coming into chair pose, engaging the core. Come up, take the hands down. Take a nice big inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees, come into chair pose, and then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, back into plank. Lower down. Coming into up dog or cobra, and then back into downward facing dog. Inhaling the right leg up behind. Step it forward, nice and light. Dropping your left heel, and then come up. Warrior one. Opening up the chest. So you want to feel length in that left side, that opening in front of the left hip. After the next inhale, exhale down to the floor, stepping back, lower down, coming into up dog or cobra, back into downward facing dog. Inhaling the left leg up behind, step it forward nice and light, dropping your right heel, come up. Again, breathing there, nice and open. Settling the breath. Feeling that opening in the front of the right hip. After the next inhale, exhale down to the floor again. Coming into up dog or cobra, and then back into downward facing dog. Breathe. Settle your downward facing dog, and then really focus on getting your breath steady and smooth. Again, we take 5 breaths here. On the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees. Jump or step the feet forward. Exhale and fold. Chair pose. Good. Coming all the way up. Drop the hands down. Last round. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees. And then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Jump or step back into plank. And lower down. Coming into up dog or cobra, and then move back from there into downward facing dog. Inhaling your right leg up behind, step it forward nice and light, dropping your left heel, come up into warrior one. Again, set your position, really thinking about opening the left side of the body as you bend into your right knee. After the next inhale, exhale down to the floor, step back and lower down. Coming into up dog or cobra, and back into downward facing dog. Inhaling the left leg up behind, step it forward, and then come up, nice and slow. Warrior one, just feel that opening in the right side of the body. After the next inhale, exhale down to the floor. Coming into up, dog or cobra, and move back from there into downward facing dog. Set your position in downward facing dog, looking towards the knees or the thighs, lengthening the lower back, drawing the navel in, and breathe. Good. On the next inhale, rise up onto the toes and look forward. Exhale and bend the knees, jump or step the feet forward. Exhale and fold. Come into chair pose. Good, rise all the way up standing, and then stand and breathe for a moment.